Look, it popped up. Oh man, look who's here. Look at this. But can I talk too?
Yeah, but it's recording now, Ari. And so I'd like it to only record things we want right now. How about that? The joys of working from home.
Come on, guys. We are going to go back to our second Passover Seder. You're always excited, are we, Robel?
Why are they always excited?
Yeah.
You're trying to get yourself into the
These candles. Who's coming? Hey, Mommy.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's Danny. I can hear you.
Oh, thank you, Danny.
You're welcome. I'm going to stay on mute for a little bit, though.
Okay.
Hi, Danny. Hi. Hey, Daddy.
Hello, Ari.
Yeah.
I see you back there.
No. My brother's here too.
Oh,
Everyone.
so nice. You guys dressed up?
A little dressed up.
I see that. I see that. Oh, look. Hi, Sandy. Hello, Alpert. It's nice to see you.
Careful, Kai. You're good. Don't let your knuckle break thing. Welcome, welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Can you hear the Alperts, Rabbi?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
It's good to see you all as well.
No, you need to sit.
Everyone, huh?
Good.
Oh, I see other families. Hello, other families.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
See, we only have some.
Happy Pesach.
We only have 9 people.
On this side, but on the other one.
We can't talk about each other because we can hear each other.
Yeah, for now at any rate, yeah. We have everyone, yeah. We have people coming on and it's really nice to see everybody. And we are recording as well, so wow.
Uh-oh.
It's for posterity.
Good. Okay.
We have people sort of still signing on. Let's see here, there we go. Is everyone having a nice Passover so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Ah, quiet.
Yes.
Pretty quiet over here.
Gonna see if I can find a couple of people who I know we're waiting for, but other than that.
You're hungry? Hey, Mommy,
Honey.
you want me to do a backflip? No. Oh,
What are you doing? Get on the computer.
Then we can't hear anybody.
what about a spinning backflip?
Hmm?
What do you want? The upside down spinning backflip.
Yeah, it's definitely very different, you know, with a Seder. Here we go. Got a couple more people coming on in. On Zoom. A little different, certainly. And having Whole Foods deliver my horseradish at like 10 p.m. a couple days ago.
That's right. The vision will start.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm completely on.
Barbara, is that you? I think.
I see Rachel and Ray here. I got the Alberts. I got Sandy. I got Linda. I got Bernie. I got Kenneth. I got Kayla. I got David and Sue Ellis. The Calmans. I got Melissa's came on. Trying to get myself and the Seder table in at the same time. Not the easiest attempt here, but okay, why is this night different than every other night? This is a pretty different night. It's the most different Seder I think I've done.
Yeah, to me too.
You too?
You had it yesterday.
Yeah, Benji is getting used to some Passover foods for the first time since he's getting some more solid food now.
Why is this nice?
We find out that kosher for Passover cereal is not really good for the 10-month-old. He's not a fan.
Why is this night different from any other night? This night is familiar to the last night. Hey guys. And also limit.
Okay, a couple more people come on. Give me 1 sec. Okay, there we go.
Hello, Rabbi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm got caught here at work on the computer a little late, but I thought, let me log in now and double task.
No, a little multitasking. That's good.
Multitasking. So hopefully I'll be done with work and then be able to concentrate on the good stuff here in just a moment.
Sounds good. Hey, Ari. How you doing? Good, good.
Here. Many others logged in?
Yeah, we got a nice little crowd here.
Oh, good.
There we go. There we go. Oh, there's Laura. Excellent.
Hi, if you need a napkin, it's right here.
Yes, yes.
All right, if you want to use a mirror, use a mirror. That's what he's not asking.
Hi.
There we go. Hello, hello.
I'm sorry. I rarely have technical difficulties with this, and I've literally been on Zoom all day, and the link wouldn't connect me. So I apologize for that, and I'm just trying to grab the Haggadah. Did you send me that in email, Rabbi?
Yeah, I mean,
Are you putting
I'm
it up on?
posting it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. That's good. Okay, well then we're good.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm seeing the Alberts, and I'm seeing Rachel and Ray and Sandy and Linda and all kinds of people, Sapersteins, Quince, Fran, hi, Melissa, the Ellises, the Cowmans, Danny, Heather, wow, this is so cool. Welcome to my dining room.
Yeah, we're getting a chance to see everyone's own spaces right now.
Yeah.
It's really good. Really, again, a really different experience. Okay, so I think I'm gonna keep on seeing who pops in, to our Seder here, because we're gonna have people who keep sort of dropping in. I'm pretty sure as it goes through, but I'm really excited to be with everybody. I was thinking about the novelty of having a Seder on Zoom. And I was thinking that while that is anxiety producing, I think for a lot of us, really stressful, a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit awkward, it's actually very much in keeping with Jewish tradition. And what I mean by that is that the Seder itself, the idea of the Seder originates in the Torah. It originates in Exodus, that we're told as God is about to bring the final plague, the 10th plague upon the Egyptians, that for all time, as an institution for all time, the Jewish people are going to gather, on this evening. They're going to have a feast of unleavened bread, and they're going to have that with some lamb and some bitter herbs, which we still do today. But that's obviously not all we do today. It would be a very quick Seder. We just have our meal and we'd be done. But that's not all the Seder includes. The rabbis came later of the Mishnah and of the Talmud and added layers. They added 4 cups of wine. They added charoset, delicious. They added parsley. They added different elements to the Seder. And then as we go further in time to the medieval period and even to the modern period, we add songs. We add Chad Gadya. We add the story of the 4 children. We add pieces and pieces to the Seder in every generation. Every generation, the Jews were innovating. They were creating and really changing what this Seder looks like in order to create a more meaningful experience. This year, in its way, falls in line with that, is that now we have a chance to innovate and be creative and do something different during the Passover Seder, which will be maybe, again, a little bit challenging in some points, but I think also in keeping with our spirit of innovation and creativity that have kept the Jewish people thriving for thousands of years. And so with that said, we're going to begin our journey from slavery to freedom. We're going to use a Haggadah this evening that I'm going to show you. I have the hard copy. It's called A Night to Remember. It's really a fantastic Haggadah. The producers of this Haggadah decided to make an online version free this year so everyone can have a chance to use their Haggadah. And so we thank them, the publishers, for putting this out there. We're going to do, again, the Seder a little bit different. We're going to do our Seder, do our readings, do our songs. We're going to do the entire Seder all the way through, today, from the beginning to the end. And at the very end, we can have our meal. Now, of course, you're at home, so you can eat whenever you want. You can eat whenever your heart desires, and that's just fine. We're going to do our Seder at our pace, but at home, you're welcome to do whatever you would like, obviously keeping with your own traditions, as Laura and I guide you through the Seder experience. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share the Haggadah with you. So you should see that popping up on your screen presently. Everyone has it?
Right?
Yeah.
Good. See how easy that works. That's so nice. So we have here is our candle lighting. And so that's part of our festival tradition, is that we begin the festival, we convoke the festival with lighting of candles. And so I'm going to ask Laura to lead us in the candle lighting.
Okay, and I'm actually going to ask Penny to do the honor of lighting those candles. I am letting you play with fire. Okay.
I don't know how good smart that is.
Okay. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Wonderful. Okay, and we're now going to move a little forward in our Seder. Hold on.
Oh, I forget this.
Okay, so the Seder means order. And so each Seder, we follow a very specific order. This idea actually comes from a combination of the Greek and Jewish experiences. The Greeks were known to have these very big, festive, luxurious meals where they would sit and they would discuss philosophical points, and they would argue and they would debate and they would ask questions. And so the Jewish community took this idea and combined it with some of their own ideas to help create the Passover Seder experience. And so the Seder has, again, that very specific order. First, we have Kadesh, which is the first cup of wine, and Kiddush. And then we have Urchat, very important this year in particular. Some hand washing, always very important, but even more so now. Karpas, the first dipping of the vegetables, our parsley. Yachatz, we're going to break the middle matzah. Magid, we're going to tell the story of Passover. Rakza, we're going to have our second hand washing. Motzi, we're going to do our motzi over the matzah, and matzah, second blessing over the matzah, and eat that as well. Maror, we're going to dip the maror, our bitter herb, in charoset. The korech with the Hillel sandwich, our festive meal, a little out of order this year. The afikomen, we're going to do dessert. We're going to do some more blessings, the third cup, some hallel, and we're going to conclude with near the concluding blessings. I also wanted to mention there's a chat function that you'll see on the bottom of your Zoom. You should hopefully see a chat function, and if you see that, you can write comments and questions during the Seder. That's one of the best ways to see what to let us know what's going on and whether or not you want a little more explanation, a little more information on it. Our goal is to try to keep this to a little hour, maybe an hour and change. That way, again, those who aren't eating can grab their dinner. But again, we're going to enjoy our Seder experience. The Talmud connects the 4 cups of wine drunk at the Seder to God's 4 promises to Israel. Tell the children of Israel that I am Adonai, and I will take them out. I will rescue them, I will redeem them, and I will marry them, taking them as my people, and I will be their God. However, 2 16th century mystical rabbis identify the 4 cups with the 4 matriarchs of Israel. The Maharal of Prague famously mentions that, and Rabbi Isaac Horowitz, they also explain that the Kiddush cup, the very first one, stands for Sarah, who was the mother of a community of converts, believers by choice. The cup of Magid is for Rebekah, who knew how to mother both Esau and Jacob, who had two opposed natures. The cup of blessing represents Rachel, whose son Joseph provided the whole family of Jacob with bread in a time of great famine. And the cup of Hallel, the cup of praise, is for Leah, the first woman to praise God. Okay, so now we're going to move forward. We're going to now do Kiddush. So if you have your Kiddush cup, you can pour yourself a glass of wine or grape juice, whatever you'd prefer.
Wait till I sit up there, right?
And then Laura's going to lead us in Kiddush.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Are we ready for Kiddush?
Yes.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava moadim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom chag hamatzot hazeh zman cherutenu mikra kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim u'moadei kodshecha b'simcha u'b'sason hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim.
L'chaim, everybody.
All right. Man, oh man, it's Shevitz. Woo! Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. I've got people coming in the waiting room. Here we go. Okay. And so now that we've done our Kiddush, we're going to slide on down to Urchatz, our first hand washing. And so it is traditional to wash our hands not once but twice. Once with a blessing, once without a blessing. The questions get asked, why do we have one without a blessing? And it's actually pretty straightforward. It's because even back then, they were also worried about purity and about having clean hands before you eat. And we're supposed to eat, and not have any germs and dirt on us. And even more important now, I guess, with COVID, make sure that our hands are clean and our hands are washed. And so if you have something to wash your hands with, it's actually a wedding gift. One of my favorite things that I got during our wedding as a gift. It's Netilat Yadayim, washing of hands. And so we'll just do a little quick hand wash. Put that aside. Okay, there we go. And now that our hands are nice and clean, we can enjoy our karpas. We can enjoy our green vegetable. The karpas, the parsley, has different interpretations. Of course, the most common is that it is a sign of springtime. Passover is a spring holiday, and so to remind ourselves of the joys of spring, the birth, the renewal, the rebirth of nature, we're going to have our green leafy vegetable. And we have an extra tradition with this, of course, is that we have some salt water. And our salt water we dip in not once but twice to remind us of the tears the Israelites cried while they were in bondage. And so we can join together with the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adamah. So we dip twice.
Oh, that's something. Wow.
Let you know, go there.
Guess who's ate them?
Mm.
Bitter tears for sure.
Bitter tears. A little too much social salt. Benji has bitter tears. Benji has been suffering. Not enough strawberries. And so that's our karpas. And now we're going to move forward. We're going to break our middle matzah. The Passover story begins in a broken world amidst slavery and oppression. The sound of the breaking of the matzah sends us into that fractured existence, only to become whole again when we find the broken half, the afikomen, at the end of the Seder. The brokenness is not just a physical or political situation. In Hebrew, Egypt is called Mitzrayim, reminding us of the word sar, narrow. Thus, in Hasidic thought, Mitzrayim symbolizes the inner straits that trap our souls. Yet even here we can find a unique value. As the Hasidic saying teaches us, there is nothing more whole than a broken heart. Or as Leonard Cohen wrote, there's a crack in everything. That's where the light comes in. And so we're going to take our middle matzah. Let's see here. We have our matzah. We're going to find our middle matzah. 1, 2. Take our middle matzah.
Decide for the afikomen.
Yeah, we're going to break that in 2. We'll put this back. And then the afikomen bag. And I think somehow this afikomen will disappear during the Seder. I'm not sure how, but I think it might have to do with Elizabeth. She will figure that out. The matzah thief will come. Okay. We're going to move forward a little bit. Okay. The story of matzah. And so the matzah that we have, we say this over here, this matzah is the bread of poverty and persecution that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in need come and share the Pesach meal. This year we are still here. Next year in the land of Israel. This year we are still slaves. Next year a free people. 300 years ago, a ship called the Mayflower set sail to the New World. This was a great event in the history of England. Yet I wonder if there is one Englishman who knows at what time the ship set sail. Do the English know how many people embarked on this voyage? What quality of bread did they eat? Yet more than 3,300 years ago, before the Mayflower set sail, the Jews left Egypt. Every Jew in the world, even in America or the Soviet Russia, knows on exactly what date they left, the 15th of the month of Nisan. Everyone knows what kind of bread the Jews ate, matzah. Even today, the Jews worldwide eat matzah on the 15th of Nisan. They retell the story of the Exodus and all the troubles Jews have endured since being exiled, saying, this year slaves, next year free. This year here, next year in Jerusalem, in Zion, in Eretz Yisrael. This is the nature of the Jews. Those are the words of David Ben Gurion. And now we're going to continue with the 4 questions. Very exciting. Now let's all join together as we hear the 4 questions.
מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות, מכל הלילות, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, חמץ ומצה, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, לא מצה, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, לא מצה, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים שאר ירקות, שאר ירקות, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, מרור, מרור, שבכל הלילות אין אנו מגדילים אפילו פעם אחת, אפילו פעם אחת, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים בין יושבים ובין מסובים, בין יושבים ובין מסובים, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, כולנו מסובים, הלילה הזה, הלילה הזה, כולנו מסובים.
Very nice. I'm going to see whether this will work or not. Let's see. Sandy,
Yes.
how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Would you like to read the English over here on all other nights? Or let's start with
Sure.
why is this night different?
Sure. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat either leavened bread or matzah, but on this night, we eat only matzah. On all other nights, we eat other kinds of vegetables, but on this night, we eat maror, bitter herbs. On all other nights, we need to dip our vegetable. We need not dip our vegetables even once, but on this night, we dip twice. On all other nights, we eat either sitting upright or reclining, but on this night, we all recline.
Oh, thank you, Sandy. Okay. One too many clicks. There we go. A story is told of Rabbi Joseph Dov Soloveitchik, the legendary teacher at Yeshiva University, a great philosopher and a great Talmudist, who demanded that his students prepare rigorously for each class. Often he began his class by asking if any of the hundreds of students crowding his lecture hall had any questions on the assigned text. Many of the students had reviewed the material, and yet they feared to ask, lest the questions reveal their ignorance to their teacher. Once, when not one of the students, hundreds of students, dared ask a question, Rav Soloveitchik demonstratively slammed his Talmud closed and walked out saying, "No questions, no class. Learning begins with questions. Learning requires the courage to expose your ignorance to the teacher, to the parent, so they can help address the real issues." Okay, we're gonna hop on forward a little bit. Okay. When in the time to come your children ask you what is the meaning of the decrees, laws, and rules that Adonai, our God, has enjoined upon you, you shall say to your children, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and Adonai freed us from Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Adonai produced before our eyes great and awesome signs and wonders in Egypt against Pharaoh and all of his household. God freed us from there so that God could take us and give us the land that has been promised to us and our ancestors. Let's join together. Avadim Hayinu.
Avadim hayinu, hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim,
Very nice. We're going to sit down it down. Okay. Rachel and Ray, you want to do a little reading? Hold on.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. What do you need me to read?
They're right here. If God had not taken.
All right. If God had not taken our ancestors out of Egypt, then we would still be enslaved to Pharaoh in Egypt, along with our children and our children's children. Even if all of us are wise, all of us are discerning, all of us are veteran scholars, and all of us knowledgeable in Torah, it is still a mitzvah for us to retell the story of the Exodus from Egypt. So the more and the longer one expands on and embellishes the story, the more commendable it is.
Thank you. Though to be fair, ironically, that has not been my experience in congregational life. The more I expand upon things, people say, hey, you know what, Rabbi, it's not that time. But that being said, it's a great, I think, teaching as well. And it really underscores for me the pedagogical nature of the holiday. I think it's the holiday that is the most interested and emphasizes the value of education that we are meant to learn during the Seder as a ritual. We're meant to sit and discuss. And the rabbis, I think, were brilliant. They decided to say, look, people don't all study and learn the same way. They don't all just learn by studying Torah, studying Talmud. We need some visual aids. So during the Seder, you're actually going to pick up things. You're going to show them, this is the matzah, this is the maror, and now we're going to taste it. We're going to, get our different senses all in tune, so we can all learn the story of Passover together. Now we're going to move forward a little bit. So we're going to get to the 4 children. Okay, the 4 children. Okay, so close. Okay. Baruch HaMakom, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenatan Torah L'Amo Yisrael, Baruch Hu. Blessed be God, blessed be the one, blessed be the giver of the Torah to the people of Israel, blessed be the one. Okay. Alpert, you in the mood to read something?
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute them. As the admin, I should be able to unmute them.
You can also unmute themselves by clicking on their photo, and then that should give them an option to mute and unmute.
Yeah, let me see here.
And you just have to hit the little
Right, we all make stupid mistakes. They're coming home. I'm gonna have to go. Josh took them out for a drive because he figured somebody was gonna kill each other if he didn't.
Okay.
Totally fine.
You just sent me an unmute message.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can get them unmuted, but for whatever reason, it's not working for me. Okay. So I don't know what's going on there. Okay. Let's see if I can unmute Linda. Yeah, I can unmute Linda. Okay. Linda, we want to read something?
Not sure.
The Torah alludes right over there.
Okay. The Torah alludes to 4 children, one wise or thoughtful, one wicked or rebellious, one simple or innocent, one who does not know how to ask.
Oh, thank you. In future generations, when your children ask, "What do you mean by Passover?" the rabbis read this verse as a good news, bad news joke. At that moment, bad news was brought to the Israelites. The Torah would be forgotten. Some say the good news was brought to them, that they would have children and their children's children. The good news arises if you read the word ki as when your children ask you, and not as if your children ask you. There is an assurance of generations to come. The bittersweet nature of the question has to do with the forgetting and the desire to know. Without forgetting, there would be no questions. Is this the inevitability of forgetting bad news? Or is it good news, implying the constant rebirth of narratives, responses to the questions of those in whom distance and forgetting create desire? The issue is not decided, as so many true questions are not decided. We're going to move forward to our wise child. Kayla, you want to do a little reading?
All right. You do it. Okay, what are we reading here?
What does the wise child say?
Okay, what does the wise child say? Do I keep going?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
What are the testimonies, the statutes, and the laws which Adonai our God has commanded you? Do you teach the children all the laws of Pesach, the last one? We do not conclude the eating at the Pesach Seder with the Afikoman.
Okay, excellent. And so now we're going to get to the wicked child, the wicked child. Bernie, you want to read something?
I'm not sure if I'm hooked up or not. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. What does the wicked child say? Whatever does this service mean to you? The children emphasize you and not him or herself, since a child excludes him or herself from the community and rejects the major principle of faith. You should set his or her teeth on edge and say, it is because of that Adonai did for me when I went free from Egypt. Me and not that over there. Had that one been there, he would not have been redeemed.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And now, the simple child. Melissa, you want to read the simple child?
Sure. What does a simple child ask? What is this? And you say to that child, let me tell you an awesome tale. With a mighty hand, Adonai brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Kalmans, you want to do a little reading? Another one that can't unmute. There you go, you got it. Okay.
As for the child who does not know how to ask, you should prompt the child. The Torah says, you shall tell your child on that day. Don't wait for the child to take the initiative. Start the story, your story, and hopefully the silent child will listen, absorb, and identify with you. It is because of this that Adonai did for me when I went free from Egypt.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we're going to. Okay, I think we're up to here. Let's see. No, what? A couple more to go. Okay. In the beginning, our ancestors were idol worshippers, but now God has brought us near to serve Adonai. Joshua said to the people, Thus said Adonai, the God of Israel, long ago your ancestors, including Terach, the father of Abraham, and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates and worshipped other gods. But I took your father Abraham from beyond the Euphrates and led him through the whole land of Canaan and multiplied his offspring. I gave him Isaac, and to Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. Then Jacob and his children went down to Egypt. Then I said, Moses and Aaron, and then I sent Moses and Aaron and brought plagues on Egypt, after which I freed you. I freed your ancestors from Egypt. Now, therefore, serve Adonai with undivided loyalty. Or if you are loath to serve Adonai, choose this day other gods to serve. But I and my family will serve Adonai. In reply, the people declared, far be it from us to forsake Adonai and serve other gods. For it was Adonai our God who brought us out of Egypt, and brought us and our ancestors out from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. And he performed these miracles before our very eyes. Now we too will serve Adonai, for Adonai is our God. Okay. Keeping the promise. Let's see. Karen, would you like to read?
Unmute.
There you
Blessed
go.
is the one who keeps the promise to Israel. The Holy One calculated the end of our exile and acted just as promised to Abraham our father at the covenant between the pieces. God said to Abram, you should know that your seed will be strangers in a land not their own. The people of that land will enslave and afflict them for 400 years. But that nation whom they serve, I will judge. Afterwards, your seed will go out with great wealth.
Very nice. Thank you for that. Okay. Let's see who's Heather. You want to read a little bit?
Sure.
Right here, this promise.
This promise has stood us and our parents in good stead. For not only has one enemy stood over us to annihilate us, but in every generation, enemies have stood over us to annihilate us. Yet the Holy One keeps the promise to save us from their hands.
No, thank you for that. Okay. Today I want to tell Adonai, our God, how I have come to be in the land Adonai promised our ancestors and gave to us. My ancestor was a wandering Aramean. He descended to Egypt, resided there in small numbers. He became a nation, great, powerful, and numerous. Then the Egyptians treated us badly. They persecuted us and subjected us to hard labor. We cried out to Adonai, the God of our ancestors, and God heard our voice. God saw our persecution, our labor, and our oppression. God took us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, with awesome power, signs, and wonders. Then God brought us to this place and gave us this land, the land of milk and honey. And now we're going to go to Laura and a little song here for our Magid. We're going to do a little Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Let's see. There's Laura.
Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. A burning bush told me just the other day that I should go to Egypt and say it's time to let my people be free. Listen to God if you won't listen to me. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. with Pharaoh's best army coming after me. I took my staff, stuck it in the sand, and all of God's people walked on dry land. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Now Pharaoh's army wasn't coming to. What do you think that God did do? Had me take my staff and clear my throat, and all of Pharaoh's army did the dead man's food. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. That's the story of the stubborn goat. Pharaoh should have known that chariots don't float. Lesson is simple, it's easy to find. When God says go, you had that in mind. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go.
Very nice. Very nice.
Can
Now
I see
we're
if there
gonna.
was other song?
There will be other songs later.
Okay, why?
Okay.
Where was the song sheet?
Okay, now we're in Egypt, and now we're going to do the 10 plagues. So it's customary to spill a little bit of wine out of your cup, usually using a finger or a spoon to show that we are sad, that we have compassion upon the Egyptians who died. And so we're going to do that now as we recite the 10 plagues. Remember how the Egyptians have suffered. I can get it. Thank you, lovely assistant. Okay. And so we're going to say these together. Dam, Sephardeya,
Hugs,
Kinim,
lights,
Arov,
wild beasts,
Dever,
cattle plague,
Shechin,
boils,
Barad,
hail,
Arbe,
locusts,
Choshech,
darkness,
Makat Bechorot,
death and the firstborn.
In the Haggadah, the rabbis go, they take the 10 plagues and they, in the different midrashim, they talk about how many plagues were there. Well, it seems clear there are 10 plagues, but then the rabbis find ways of making them 50 plagues and 100 plagues and 500 plagues, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All the plagues that struck Egypt. I was thinking about if it was 500 plagues, I think my wine cup would be empty. It would take a very long time to get through all of the plagues. There were that many. But I gotta say, I look at these plagues and I think about the hail. That according to tradition, the hail, what made that such a plague and such a problem is that the hail was ice, coming down, and then it would hit the ground and it would become fire. So it was this combination of ice and fire that plagued the Egyptians, and it was God overcoming, right, superseding nature to create something that was both fire and ice at the same time. A song of ice and fire. That's something else. That's Game of Thrones. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Game of Thrones. And so we're gonna keep on moving because another one of the plagues that I think is very interesting is our plague of frogs. And of course, there's a very famous song about frogs, which I think is fun.
Frog. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, One morning when Pharaoh woke up in his bed, there were frogs on his head and frogs in his bed. Frogs on his nose and frogs on his toes. Frogs here, frogs there. Frogs are jumping everywhere. Oh. Like that puppet there, Rabbi.
Frogs everywhere. Indeed.
Frogs everywhere.
Okay. Now we're going to continue for all of God's signs and wonders. We give God thanks as we sing Dayenu. It would have been enough for us.
So over the last number of years, we've had a tradition. I don't know if any of you remember to have a scallion on your plate, but we've had a tradition from Iran, from the Persian Jews, from Iraq, that when you sing Dayenu, the scallion is used as a whip to remember the taskmasters and that we're free of them. So if you have a scallion, or if you just want to tap your neighbor or pretend you have one, we're gonna do a little of that tradition here. I hope Penny doesn't beat me too badly with that onion. So, okay, Dayenu.
Very nice. It would have been enough for us.
I'm sorry.
No, they're not saying that.
Hey, Rosens, how you doing? You want to read a little bit?
Sure.
Over here, Rabbi Gamliel.
Used to say, all who have not explained the significance of three things during the Pesach Seder have not yet fulfilled their duty. The three are the Pesach lamb, the matzah, and the maror.
Very nice. And so we have our lamb bone. You can keep going. Our lamb bone is here. Looks suspiciously like a chicken bone, but you know, you can pretend it's a lamb bone.
Rabbi, sometimes people, if you don't have a lamb bone or if you're vegetarian, sometimes people put a beet on the place of the lamb bone. We have a
something nice and roasted.
Can't beat it.
Okay.
Okay.
Rosens, you want to keep reading?
Sure. Where am I starting from?
I'll give you the Hebrew. Pesach al Shumma. And you can keep going from there.
The Pesach lamb that our ancestors ate in the days of the temple. Why did we used to eat it? To remind ourselves that God passed over our ancestors' house in Egypt at this very hour, on this very date. Moshe instructed us, when your children ask you, what do you mean by the ceremony? You should say, it is the Passover offering to Adonai, because God passed over the house of Israel in Egypt when God struck the Egyptians, but saved our houses.
Very nice. Thank you very much. That was very nice reading. Okay. Now we have matzah.
Matzah. Ari's favorite part of the Seder.
I know, Ari loves his matzah. Okay. So let's grab some matzah. Matzah al shumma. This matzah, why do we eat it? To remind ourselves that even before the dough of our ancestors in Egypt had time to rise and become leavened, the ruler of rulers, the Holy One, was revealed and redeemed them. The Torah says they baked unleavened cakes of dough that they had taken out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, since they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared any provisions for themselves. So that's our matzah. And now, let's see. What's next? I think what's next is a little more roar. You don't like maror, Chai? That's okay. Maror, al shumma. This maror, why do we eat it? Remind ourselves that the Egyptians embittered our ancestors' lives. They embittered their lives with hard labor, with mortar and bricks, and with all sorts of field labor. Whatever the task, they worked them ruthlessly. That's why we have moror, our horseradish. There goes some horseradish.
No. Don't dip the bone
Okay.
in the salt water.
Now in every generation, Bechol dor v'dor chayav adam lirot et atzmo ke'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. In every generation, one is obligated to see oneself as one who personally went out from Egypt, just as it says, you shall tell your child on that day, it is because of this that God did for me when I went out from Egypt. Not only were our ancestors redeemed by the Holy One, but even we were redeemed with them, just as it says. God took us out from there in order to bring us and to give us the land God swore to our ancestors. And so that is the meaning of the different symbols. And really, I think in one sentence, and I don't think there's any other sentence to me that captures the essence of the Seder than that line in Hebrew and then in English, that we are obligated to see ourselves as personally having been freed from Egypt. The idea that the Seder ritual is meant to really transport us back through time to the time of the Exodus, and we envision ourselves as slaves, and envision ourselves try to step into the footsteps of our ancestors to get an understanding. Of course, we can't literally do that, but we can sort of think about what it must have been like for them as slaves, and then what it must be like to taste freedom. I think in a small way, we're experiencing a little bit of that now. The idea that we're a little bit more restricted now than we used to be, certainly not in the same way, but a little bit of that restriction. And think of how much, sort of stress we're having now with just this. And imagine if it was so much worse. And so I think it gives us a sense of empathy, I think, for those whose troubles are more severe and whose troubles are lasting longer than we're currently going through. And so I think it's really meant to give us that sense of compassion and empathy, and not only for the ancestors, but for all of those who are in trouble, who are enslaved, who are not free. We're going to continue now with Miriam's cup. Oh, no, sorry, not yet. Miriam's cup. I'm going to have the game here. But State Israel. Okay, so Laura, you'd like to lead us?
B'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim beit Yaakov ve'am lo'ez. B'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim
Okay. Second cup. Oh, Lord, so you want to read it from the bottom there in the actual Kiddush?
Oh, I see it. Just on the bottom of my screen, but it's blocked by something. Okay.
Yeah, you see?
All right. So we join together for Baruch atah Adonai Elohim Haolam Borei Peri Hagafen.
Okay. Now that we've done our second cup of wine, we're going to now talk about Miriam's cup. Where's Miriam's cup? Miriam's cup. Miriam's cup, filled with spring water, evokes the miracles of past and present, complementing Elijah's cup, which is filled with wine to represent the hope for redemption. Miriam, a prophet and leader of the people, is always associated with miracles by water. Her name, Miriam, as a child, Miriam watched over her baby brother Nile when he was rescued by the Pharaoh's daughter. After the miracle of the parting waters of the Red Sea, Miriam leads the women in song and dance with their tambourines. Midrash asserts that a well of water accompanied the children of Israel through the desert because of the characteristic optimism and faith of Miriam. When Miriam is stricken with leprosy, Moses pleads with her for healing, chanting a short, powerful, rhyming staccato prayer, El na rifana la, God please, heal her please. Thus Miriam's well, which legend reports had been filled with the waters of the firmament of creation, became associated with healing. When Miriam dies, the earth goes into mourning and the community is without water. The tradition speculates that Miriam's well departed with her death, though it is subsequently returned and remains with us to this day. That's Miriam's cup, host Miriam. We're going to now sing a little something.
Okay.
What are we singing, Laura?
There it is, right on the bottom.
I got there.
Okay. Miriam Hanevi'ah, Oz Rabbeinu, Miriam Tirkot Itanu, Lehagitim Radolam, Miriam Tirkot Itanu, Letaken et Haolam, Kela Be'avenu, Idevienu.
Welcome to everyone who has dropped on by. It's really nice that we have some more people. So, welcome everyone who just came, entered our Seder experience. Okay, and so we did Miriam's cup. And now we're ready to eat a little something. And so before we do that, we're going to once again have our washing of hands. And so we're going to take our water. This time we're going to wash our hands with a blessing. So if we all have our water ready, I'll give us a second or two to get ready. Also, I invite those who aren't sharing a video, if you would like to share your video, I'm happy to always see smiling faces. That's certainly a nice thing. So we have our water, and we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al nitilat yadayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us by commanding us to wash our hands. Now we're all nice and clean. You don't wash for 20 seconds here, but that's okay. You can if you would like. Okay.
I want to.
And now we're going to continue with the matzah.
Yay!
Yay, indeed.
Who likes matzah?
I'll tell you, my kids are matzah monsters. They love all the matzah. They're so
Wow.
excited. I've got a nice 5-pound box delivered today, and I feel like it's going to last us till Sunday if we're lucky. So, but I made a lot of simmus. That helps too. Okay.
Make a big simmus.
Yeah, I like the simmus.
Big simmus.
Like the simmus. It's a good thing. Okay. So now we are going to do motzi. And let's grab our matzah so we can do motzi. And the matzah blessing as we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz. And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
melech haolam,
asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. You don't want a tiny piece?
That can be convenient.
Yeah. Nice big piece for you. You're going to get more in a minute. Okay. It's one of those things, right? It's very plain, but people really like it. I remember back when I was in college, my roommate in college, I was like the first Jewish person he had ever really met. And so he and I were roommates for 4 years at Boston University. And every Passover, I'd maybe get a box or two of matzah sent from my parents, or I'd buy some. And he would always eat my matzah. And I'm like, dude, I need this for like my my week. So I'd eat all my matzah. But he liked it too. Matzah, very plain but very pleasant. Okay. Something that people find a little less pleasant, but I happen to enjoy. Sort of, robs the symbolic meaning when you enjoy it a little bit. Maror, a bitter herb. Fresh horseradish.
Whoa.
No pickled beet horseradish for us. We're going,
You got the real green?
Right from the root, right from the root.
Green.
Good stuff. Okay, and of course the maror reminds us of the bitterness that the Israelites suffered when they were enslaved in Egypt. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror.
Maror.
Yeah, please, Daddy. You don't have to have it. Would you like a piece? Thank you.
And ye shall eat it, as Hillel says, which we're coming up to right in a minute.
I know.
Sorry, watch out.
Matzah and maror, korech.
I like matzah challah.
This sandwich, the korech, the Hillel sandwich, is eaten in memory of the Pesach offering, the lamb offering in the temple of Hillel. In the temple as Hillel used to celebrate it. He would sandwich the Pesach lamb between the matzah and the maror and eat them all together in order to observe the law. You shall eat it on matzah and maror. I didn't mention, though I should have, is that you can also dip your maror in your charoset. Okay.
Yeah.
Charoset are a mixture of apples and walnuts and manischewitz. I didn't have time this year to do a Sephardic one, but this is their Ashkenazic sort of traditional charoset. No food processor. Well, to be fair, actually, I think the food processing is a little better. But that's another story for another day. We'll take the matzah and the moror, and we'll break up some pieces here. Okay, so if you guys want some matzah, a nice piece of maror.
Can I have one? Can I have it? You can
Oh, maror?
a matzah.
Maror is right there, boychuk.
With
Okay.
the sand in it.
And you shall eat it. Mmm. Nothing better.
Nothing better than yummy matzah and yummy hot.
So now, if you would like to enjoy some tasty food, and we're going to continue with the Seder, but we're going to sing a little bit. We have a song here, lots and lots of matzah.
Yes. Yeah. So normally we would break here.
Yep.
But we're gonna do the whole thing and then everybody can enjoy their meal. So lots and lots of matzah requires some free hands. If you would like to do the hand motions. On Pesach we eat matzah. Lots of matzah. It's yummy in my tummy. Lots of matzah. Do, 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 do. On Pesach we eat chicken. Finger licking chicken. It's yummy in my tummy. Finger licking chicken and lots of matzah. Do, 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 do. On Pesach we eat gefilte fish. Smelly in the belly, gefilte fish. It's yummy in my tummy. Smelly in the belly, gefilte fish and finger licking chicken and lots of matzah. Do, 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 do. On Pesach we eat matzah balls. Roll, 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 matzah balls. They're yummy in my tummy. Roll, 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 matzah balls. And smelly in the belly, gefilte fish and finger licking chicken and lots of matzah. Do, 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 do. On Pesach we eat horseradish. Hop, 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 horseradish. It's yummy in my tummy. Hop, 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 horseradish. And roll, matzah balls. Smelly in the belly, gefilte fish and finger licking chicken and lots of matzah. Do, 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 do. On Pesach, charoset. Chop, chop, charoset. It's yummy in my tummy. Chop, chop, charoset and hop, 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 horseradish and roll, matzah balls. Smelly in the belly, gefilte fish and finger licking chicken and lots of matzah. Pesach! Woo!
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Even Maisie is singing.
Gefilte fish is one of those foods that I think you have to be brought up with. But I, even though I was brought up with it, don't care for it. But I always buy a jar for it, just for Elizabeth to enjoy. But we want our kids to enjoy the chopped liver and whatnot. Thank you.
Ming,
I'm
we
okay.
like some crunch cheese.
Now, okay, we're going to continue with our Seder, and we're going to do our, we'll do our Afikomen hunt a little later on our own time, and then we're going to keep going. There we go. Third cup of wine. Okay. Elizabeth, can you pass me the wine, please? Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Okay. No Manischewitz today. You still got a nice Pinot Noir. I think I'm coming out on top, so that's okay. The wine is vegan, so.
The grape juice is Kadam, I think. Why would you be vegan?
No additives.
What would you put in it?
Fish bladder. My wife asked, well, how can wine be, vegan or fleishik or whatever it is? And the reason is that as an additive, sometimes wine companies use fish bladder, amongst other things.
That's good. I know that.
Blubber.
And this does not have that, so one less thing to worry about. Okay, so that's our third cup of wine. A little bit to the missus here. The good doctor. Okay. That's our third cup, and now we're going to move on to Elijah. And so Elijah's cup is right here. Okay, and so for Elijah reminds us of the promise for the future that we hope that we create, and perhaps God helps us create in partnership, a utopian world, an age where everyone is able to live under their vine and fig tree with none to make them afraid, a world of wholeness and holiness, and a world of peace. Now we're going to join together, Eliyahu HaNavi, and feel free if you'd like to open the door for Elijah, but remember, 6 feet away, even for Elijah.
Yeah.
And Miriam.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hakilati, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu HaNavi, Eliyahu HaTishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu HaKilati.
Okay. So now we've done Elijah's cup. Our fourth cup of wine.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Lion.
Let's go open the door for Elijah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was our final cup of wine. And now, once we get started with Passover, we actually are on a countdown, or better said, maybe a count up to our next festival, Shavuot. Shavuot commemorates the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, and according to tradition, it takes 50 days to get to Sinai. So the Israelites walk from Egypt to Mount Sinai, and it's a time of great thoughtfulness, contemplation, reflectiveness, and prayer as we sort of make this journey together. It's the walk is actually almost an act of purity, that we're trying to sort of transform ourselves as Israelite people that were at that time more a gaggle of slaves, everyone sort of the mixed multitude, but to get to the point where we get to being one people at Mount Sinai, or getting the law, getting the Torah at Mount Sinai. And so it's tradition to count every single evening from tonight until Shavuot, which is going to be, again, in about 50 days, or exactly 50 days. So on the bottom of this page, we read together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer, hayom yom echad la'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with divine laws and commanded us to count the Omer. Today is the first day of the Omer. And you can see on the side here, it talks about the Omer is actually a measure of barley. And so it's a part of the barley harvest. Again, that dichotomy between the historical, the idea of the journey from Egypt to Sinai, but also the agricultural calendar, that now is the time of the barley harvest. So now that we have counted the Omer, we're going to do a little bit of singing. And so let's sing a little bit as we conclude. Okay, Passover conclusion. Ah, dear who?
Ah, dear who? This was my grandfather's favorite Passover song. So every time I sing it, I think of him. Ah, dear who, you've made a Bimhera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Benay Bekara, for who God knows, God knows, if they go Bekara. Hera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Benay Bekara, Adiru, Batiku, Zakaihu, Yiflay Bekara, Hera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Hasidhu, Taharhu, Yafidhu, Yiflay Bekara, Bimera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Kadirhu, Lamuhu, Melefu, Yiflay Bekara, Bimera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Bekara, Norahu, Sagifu, Isushu, Yiflay Bekara, Bimera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Bekara, Hodehu, Sadiku, Kadoshu, Yiflay Bekara, Bimera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Bekara, Rahumhu, Shadaihu, Takifu, Yiflay Bekara, Bimera, Yaminu Bekara, Elbenay, Bekara. And
One of my
if you didn't
favorites.
know that song at the beginning, I'm sure you know it by the end.
Yeah.
Also, who notices something about the verses? They kind of give it away in this Haggadah. Take a close look at the words. Adirhu, Bachur, Gadol. Who wants to say what they think it is? What's that? Anybody know?
Everyone's on mute.
Oh, everyone's on mute. Somebody could raise their hand. It's in alphabetical order. It's in the order of the Aleph Bet, which is why the little graphic there, the little cartoon says I built it alone from A to Z, Aleph to Tav. And there it is. If you look at all the red letters in this, the whole song goes through in alphabetical order, talking about all of these different aspects of God. Okay.
How about who knows one? You who knows one? You want to go to Chad Gadya?
Let's go to Chad Gadya, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. Okay.
I have a great Ladino version of Echad Miyodea, by the way.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do a little one lonely goat.
Okay. Oh, they have sounds indicated in this. That sounds very interesting. Okay. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya, my Abba born for two days. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Along came the cat and ate the kid that my Abba bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the dog and ate the cat that ate the kid Abba bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Along came the stick and hit the dog that beat the big cat that ate the kid. My brother bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My brother bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Came the fire that burnt. Oh, I did that one. Did I do that one? Yeah. Came the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the ox and drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat. My father bought that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then we're missing some verses.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we're missing the angel of death. But anyway, then came the Holy One and destroyed the angel of death that slew the butcher, that killed the ox, that drank the water, that quenched the fire, that burnt the stick, that beat the dog, that bit the cat, that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya.
Very nice. Okay, and that's, we're going to do one more. I just wanted to thank everyone for being here with us tonight and for partaking in the Passover Seder experience. Again, I know this is a different way of doing it, but I'm really glad that even in these challenging times that we can come together, as Jews have done for centuries in challenging times, to come together and participate in a sacred and special ritual that reminds us of how lucky we are to be free and how much, that we you need to remember the struggles of the past, and it helps us to better face the challenges of the present and of the future. So I'm really glad we'll all be able to be together. And we're going to say in a moment next year in Jerusalem, but I'm also going to say next year wherever we'd like to be, with our family, with our friends, the temple community, wherever we'd like. That's my prayer for next year, that we can just, do Seder as we would normally do Seder. So concluded is the Pesach Seder, finished down to the last detail with all of its laws and customs, as we have been able to conduct this Seder. So may we someday perform it in Jerusalem. Pure One who dwells in the palace, support the congregation and countless in number. May you soon lead the offshoots of your stock, bringing the redeemed to Zion in joy. As we sing together.
Lishana Haba, 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 Shabbat, Lishana Haba, Lishana Haba, Yerushalayim. Oh, say Shalom, Ura, say
Shalom, Shalom Aleinu v'yavo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh 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 Shalom, Shalom Aleinu v'yavo Yisrael.
Happy Pesach from our home to yours. Thank you all so much, Rabbi.
I muted everybody. Just so we all want to say a Chag Sameach, everyone. Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach. It's our pleasure to be with you from Chag Sameach, everybody. All good things. Have a happy and meaningful Passover, and hope to see you all real soon.
Imagine probably more. All right, stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe. Be right.
Thank you for the nice Seder.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Again, thank you so much.
Tomorrow for Shabbat. Don't forget, we have Shabbat tomorrow night.
Hi, thank you very much for the Seder. It's Debbie and Bill.
What was that? I didn't hear that.
Oh, it's Debbie and Bill saying thank you very much. We enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you joined us. And I see that Barry, and you're not on mute anymore.
Right, we took it off of mute.
Excellent.
It was a beautiful service.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Wonderful to see everybody.
Everyone Shabbat, 7 o'clock. We'll be
Yeah, Shabbat service
streaming
tomorrow.
live.
Going to be streamed tomorrow morning?
Yep.
Tomorrow
Nice.
morning.
No, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, Shabbat. We'll be on at 7. So
And Yizkor on April 15th will be streamed.
Not tomorrow?
No, Yizkor's last day.
Okay.
yeah, Yizkor will be Wednesday.
That's how it is. Here's my plans.
Yeah. Okay, everybody.
Judy, Harry, Bernie, and Marilyn said hi.
When is Yizkor?
The 15th.
15th.
Yeah. We're going to be doing it with Temple Bethel in St. Pete. We're going to be doing a joint Zoom thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Everybody stay well.
Stay safe.
You too, Judy.
Stay well.
Bye, Rosens.
Bye, Rosens. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Enjoy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.